Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I want you to imagine, just for a second, that you're sitting right across from me in my cognitive research clinic. You know, clients come into my office literally every single day, and they're convinced that their mental quirks, things like relentless overthinking, getting easily distracted, or just feeling this intense emotional sensitivity, they think these are flaws. They feel, well, broken. But here's the thing. When we actually look at their brain scans, we don't see anxiety, we don't see distraction. What we actually see are hidden neuroscience-backed signs of high intelligence. So today, we're going to walk through exactly what your brain is doing behind the scenes and why the very things you've probably been apologizing for your whole life are actually your greatest cognitive strengths.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever sat in a meeting or maybe a classroom and just felt like, you're not that smart? Like everyone else around you just naturally gets it way faster than you do, or they move on while you're still completely stuck analyzing a single point. Well, if you're nodding your head right now, pay close attention, because I'm going to share some incredible signs from recent neurological research that prove your brain is likely hiding its genius right in plain sight. This is all about redefining how we view our own cognitive processing and finally understanding that unique, amazing machinery inside our heads. Society is constantly telling us that standard intelligence is all about, robotic speed, right? Perfect test scores, solving equations in record time, that sort of thing. But true hidden intelligence, it looks very different neurologically. It's actually about deep awareness. It's adaptability, endless curiosity, and just this incredible depth of thought. Think of standard intelligence kind of like a pocket calculator. It's incredibly fast, sure, but ultimately pretty limited. Hidden intelligence, on the other hand, is like a supercomputer running a massively complex operating system. It might take, say, a fraction of a second longer to boot up, but it's processing the entire universe of variables to give you a profoundly deeper answer.
Section 1. The neuroscience of overthinking.
All right, let's talk about metacognition. This is the neurological ability to think about your own thinking. When you replay a normal daily task, like, a simple grocery store interaction or a super brief chat with a coworker, and you imagine 50 different outcomes, your brain's default mode network is absolutely lighting up. And no, this isn't just anxiety. Picture this glowing, active neural web running high-powered simulations. Your brain is actively analyzing, calculating, and mapping out complex social variables. You are constantly testing hypotheses against reality. And honestly, that's the foundational bedrock of the scientific method, happening right there in your everyday life.
And hey, have you ever caught yourself talking out loud while trying to, say, fix a leaky sink or write a really difficult line of code? Well, studies from the University of Wisconsin actually show that people who verbalize their thoughts process information way faster and retain it way longer. Einstein himself actually did this. He frequently talked to himself to basically coach his own prefrontal cortex through incredibly complex reasoning. So when you're mumbling through a problem, you're literally giving your brain an auditory feedback loop to accelerate your problem solving. It's a proven genius trait. It turns a silent mental struggle into a highly active multisensory calculation.
Section 2. Dopamine, boredom, and procrastination. Here's a simple rule. Complex brains need complex challenges. If you absolutely despise repetitive routines, or you find yourself totally zoning out during mundane tasks, listen to me. It's not laziness. Your brain actually possesses a faster reward prediction system. Because it figures out simple patterns instantly, it gets absolutely zero dopamine from mundane stuff. This dopamine novelty-seeking behavior is actually the exact thing that drives brilliant minds to develop lifelong obsessive learning habits. Your brain is essentially a high-performance sports car, right? But it's stuck in school zone traffic, desperately hunting for the open road where it can finally accelerate.
And psychologists actually call this specific behavior active procrastination. Your brain literally rejects simple busy work. It stubbornly waits until the stakes are high enough to trigger a massive adrenaline and dopamine spike, which then gives you that intense laser focus. So how do we turn this into a daily productivity tool? Simple. Don't fight it. Artificially create high-stakes environments for yourself. Set rigid micro-deadlines or maybe pair up with an accountability partner to simulate the exact pressure your brain craves. You aren't failing to plan. You are just engineering the precise neurochemical environment you need to perform at your absolute peak.
Section 3. Heightened senses and memory.
Okay, so if you get incredibly annoyed by ticking clocks, loud breathing, or tiny background noises, what you're experiencing is heightened sensory processing. Your brain is absorbing vastly more environmental data so it can detect patterns faster. But yeah, this often leads to serious overstimulation. So to protect your cognitive energy, try implementing a low sensory morning routine. Spend your first 20 minutes of the day in complete silence. No screens, no bright lights. This lets your nervous system stabilize before that massive influx of daily data hits you. Similarly, that constant self-doubt you might feel, it's just a marker of a highly intelligent brain calculating its own limitations. Basically, the more you know, the more intensely aware you are of the vast unknown.
Now, this intense influx of daily data also explains a fascinating phenomenon called flexing working memory. You might completely forget where you put your keys, but you can perfectly quote a movie you saw back in 2008. Why? Because your highly active brain naturally prioritizes emotional resonance and complex novelty way over mundane data. To really optimize a brain like this, you need 3 specific daily habits. First, offload those routine tasks by writing everything down, so your mind just doesn't have to hold on to them. Second, engage in intense, totally uninterrupted deep work blocks. And third, prioritize cardiovascular exercise. It actively clears out the neural static and essentially hits the reset button on your working memory.
Section 4. The power of deep emotions and late nights.
Did you know that research from the London School of Economics shows night owls actually tend to score significantly higher on intelligence tests? It's true. But why is that? Well, during the day, your hyper-aware brain is constantly fighting off sensory overload. But late at night, all those distractions just fade away. The world goes quiet, and that allows your brain's default mode network to fully take over without any sensory interference. This incredible lack of daily friction is exactly what allows your mind to wander, to connect disparate ideas, and to foster those deep, creative breakthroughs that simply couldn't surface during the noisy, busy daylight hours. And this quiet, deep processing, it extends directly to how you handle people through a concept known as neural sophistication. You see, common neurotypical behavioral norms often prioritize surface-level small talk, right? And just moving on quickly from interactions. But deep feelers, they process micro-expressions. They feel the underlying social frequencies. So if you feel immense empathy and you can intuitively understand a room's unspoken tension, please know that is not a weakness. You are reading data points that most people are completely blind to. Highly intelligent people don't just think deeply. Their emotional radar systems are remarkably advanced, making them incredibly attuned to the entire human experience.
Section 5. The ultimate genius trait.
So, what is the ultimate sign of a high IQ? It's simply that you never stop learning. Geniuses across all eras share this one absolutely fundamental habit. They relentlessly seek better answers, even when society tells them they already know enough. The very fact that you're engaging with this explainer right now, that you are actively researching the neuroscience of your own mind out of pure, unadulterated curiosity, that is the exact cognitive hunger I look for in my most gifted clients. Your brain's unquenchable thirst for understanding is, without a doubt, the most powerful asset you possess.
So, I have to ask, are you ready to finally stop seeing your brain's quirks as flaws? We've seen today how overthinking is actually just complex simulation, how distraction is brilliantly searching for novelty, and how deep sensitivity is truly neural sophistication at work. So the next time someone tells you that you're too sensitive, or too quiet, or maybe just too lost in your own head, just smile, because you now know exactly what high intelligence looks like. The only question left is, now that you finally understand how incredibly powerful your mental operating system really is, what are you going to build with it?